In certain things, you don't have to be perfect. You get a bad haircut, it'll grow back. You cutting your grass, your landscaper does your grass, your edging's so-so. It's fine. It'll fix itself. But there's one thing you definitely don't want to be messing around with and doing it yourself, and that's your taxes. The other part of it is having someone who actually understands you and your situation. If you're out there putting a tax return in on TurboTax, or maybe it's one of these places where you go and you kind of stand there, wait around for a few hours, and they do it on the spot. If you miss something, whether it's a document that came to you because they don't always come in the right time frames, that's on you. No one's going to ask you and double check and say, you know what, last year you had this 1099, now you don't have that. So someone to actually look and put everything together is probably one of the most important things you have, because otherwise you're doing it yourself. And if you forget something, there's no one there to check you on it. And that's when you get the audits and you get the letters from the IRS and things like that. So that in itself, someone to double check what you did. So you could sit down and talk to what you did as a plain normal human being, and they could know, all right, you're going to need this, you're going to need this form, you're going to make sure we have this, as opposed to you trying to figure this out yourself. There's some things I say we do to save money. This is definitely not one of them, because forgetting one 1098 or 1099 could change your whole tax return, your whole refund, and have you getting letters next year from the IRS. No matter how many blogs you're on or Reddit searches, there is so much information that you don't know you don't even know where to start looking, because you don't know what you don't know. And then two, there's so much misinformation out there because some guy told someone that he did this and it worked, and he's been doing it for 10 years and he never got caught. And it's absolutely crazy. You can't even trust ChatGPT because that information is incorrect too. The tax law and the tax code is insanely confusing. And I think it's done on purpose because they don't want you to really understand what goes into it, right? But look at it from this standpoint. You figure something out that works from a tax standpoint, and the IRS is like, I don't like that, so we're going to close out with this section. And then someone comes up with something else, and like, well, subsection A is going to cover this. So it turned into this big game of like, let me see what I can get away with, and then you catch me, and then make a rule about it. So someone who understands like the tax law, the tax code, knowing what's allowed, what's not allowed, those are the most important things you can do, because at the end of the day, a dollar saved in taxes is the same dollar that you earned working, right? That's your money. So having someone who knows these tax laws, knows what to look for, knows how businesses work and how this all computes together is a big part of how you end up doing on your taxes. And you can't really relate your accountant. A lot of times they get like, well, I got a good refund with this one and I didn't get a good refund with this one. You're the one that put that information in. They're just the one analyzing all of it, right? If you 99'd your check to get more, or you didn't claim as many dependents so you can get more in your check but less in your taxes, when tax time comes, you're going to owe money. If you did single zero and you have a family of 5, when tax time comes, you're going to get money back. There's nothing that the accountant does or does not do to affect your refund there. What they do is maximize what they can do legally in your tax return, and have the education to know what applies when and when it doesn't apply. And very simply, time is money. So you're better off focusing on what you do best and leave taxes to what they know best. You can go pick up a shift of overtime. You can go make more sales phone calls, or whatever it is that you do to make income. You're probably better off doing more of that for the time it's going to take you to learn and try to figure out how it is to do your own taxes and cover the vast amounts of knowledge that a CPA has, than it is to just go do some more work of what you're good at and let this be something you don't think about. Because this is one of those things you just don't want to play around with. So as much as it's like, hey, I'm a big DIY guy too, this is one of those I would never mess around with, because there's too much left on the table. And if you leave something on the table, you leave money, a deduction that you could have had, whether it's a home business office or things like that, no one's going to remind you of that. And that's just gone. So take advantage of everything you can, use an expert, and have someone there that you can call and talk to and sit there and just explain your situation like a human being, and let them do what they do.